All right, what's going on YouTube? Navy Vet 88. I know it's been a minute since y'all seen me on these videos. Had a lot of stuff going on. Last time you see me, I had a big beard. Now, as you can see, we pretty much just restarted the whole process. It's been a long time coming. I've been trying to get my mind mentally together in order to start working back on more content. But I see you guys still asking about some of the videos that I promised you guys. So don't think that I've forgotten about you. I haven't. I started recording. I spent about maybe close to an hour on doing the whole lower receiver build breakdown. It was just taking too long. It was taking too much of my energy and trying to get the parts together and do the editing. So I was just like, you know what, bump it, I'm gonna scratch it. But now I see a lot of people still asking about it, so I'm gonna still get to them. As far as this video is concerned right here, this video is going to be my opinion-based pretty much my idea, my thoughts, and pretty much looking for a feedback video about what is the perfect rifle and is there an actual perfect rifle. Now, I know a lot of people have a lot of different builds and things of that nature, and some people might say, hey, well, this is the perfect build, this is the perfect build. You can or you can't have a perfect build. And I've seen people who have builds that they consider to be perfect, but they don't possess the shooting qualities and capabilities in order to take that platform that they have that it would consider superior and perfect to the next level once they put it in the hands of somebody who's a greater, better shooter than they are. And then they'll realize like, okay, I thought it was the perfect rifle, but then now that I see somebody else operate it and say that, oh, well, it doesn't do this, it doesn't function like this, it doesn't hold up or withstand these types of testing and things of that nature, the tolerance aren't whatever. And I know a lot of that can become very, very opinion based, but as far as me and my concerns and what I think about it, the perfect rifle is the one that you build that fits all of your needs and also embodies the best quality products. So I know some people might think, you know, what are you saying by a perfect rifle? Perfect rifle, in my opinion, isn't just rifle only, standard, stock, nothing on it. In my opinion, the perfect rifle has all of the amenities, all of the accessories, all of the capabilities that you will need to do things from a very short distance to a very further out, greater distance. With those distances, you might have something that is good for 30 yards on in, while at the same time being able to use that same rifle and stretch it all the way out to 300 to 500 to 800 yards. That's my opinion. Some people might say the perfect rifle needs to go out further than that, but again, like I said, it's all opinion based. So starting off with my rifle that I would consider the perfect rifle would be my 11.5 BCM build. As you can see right here, this is our 11.5 build. If you watched a lot of my videos, you've seen this build a lot. And I'll go ahead and just pull this sling off the back so it can just drop and we can get some good images, some good views and good side profiles of this 11.5 build. With this one, I'm going to start from the tip and then we'll work our way all the way back to the rear. So nut to butt, like we used to say in the Navy when we were in boot camp. That's a very, very pause phrase or statement. I don't know who came up with that pause statement like that, but nut to butt is definitely not a term that I feel like anybody should ever be using, except for in boot camp. And that's only just to bring some type of, comedy or just to get, morale going, people laughing and stuff like that when they hear it. So I can understand why it's used there, but any other circumstance, situation, or scenario in life, you should never be using the term nut to butt or the phrase nut to butt because it's 2025. You gotta watch and be careful what you say. All right, so up front, as you can see right here, we have our Surefire War Comp 3-prong. This is not the 4-prong. I got the 3-prong first before I knew about the 4-prong, but I've had this actual War Comp for a long time. So if you watched any of my older videos, you've seen this muzzle device. We've had it for a long time. Now before this, we had the BCM Mod Zero. I want to say it was the Mod Zero A2 flash hider. Really, really nice. But when you have this 3-prong War Comp as well as the Surefire 4-prong War Comp, when it comes to muzzle signature, muzzle flash, I mean, it's there. Honestly, if you have the 3-prong or the 4-prong muzzle device on this and then you slap on a suppressor after that, when it comes to the signature, when it comes to muzzle blast and muzzle flash and things of that nature, the flash hider, is what it's intended for. I feel like it's almost the same. The only difference is when you're using a can, I feel like it does take away a little of that concussion from it, and you get more gas that you will see out the end of it. But I feel like you're going to get almost just as much flash reduction when it comes to that bullet leaving out of the tip of that muzzle. On the perfect rifle, or my perfect rifle, I'm going to have something like this that is a flash mitigator that does take away your signature while also having the ported holes at the top. Since you can see it is a comp also, and it helps with a lot of the concussion, the recoil, quote unquote, blowback, or whatever you want to use, or whatever you want to have. And also, if you're laying prone, as you can see, these holes at the top that are ported, they're not ported at the bottom. So if you were to lay prone, a lot of that muzzle blast is going to go up higher, and it's going to keep a lot of the debris and everything at the bottom from basically blowing up in your face and things of that nature. I feel like this war comp is very, very loud, but I feel like it's a necessity. It absolutely needs to be had. What makes this perfect for a muzzle device on the perfect rifle is the fact that it is capable of not only having a flash mitigator or a flash hider, is not only a compensator when it comes to the blowback or the recoil, but it also serves two purposes, because you can automatically slap a can right on top of it. So if you want to go suppressed, you have the opportunity and capabilities to put a suppressor on it without having to change out anything, without having to bring out your armor's wrench or anything like that to take it off and do a direct thread or anything like that. It pretty much is created to be compatible with the Surefire system of suppressors, and also BNT suppressors. From what I've seen over the years, there are certain, I'm not sure if it's all BNT suppressors, but I know that the 30mm can BNT suppressors, you can adapt them over onto the same Surefire platform. And as you can see right here, you have that pretty much that edge and that groove, and it helps you to put your suppressor can down on it, lock it in, and then you're good to go. So the perfect suppressor, or I'm sorry, the perfect rifle, quote unquote, will give you the capabilities in order to go suppressed, unsuppressed, as well as having a flash signature mitigator to pretty much no flash signature at all, while also giving you that comp capability of reducing recoil and things of that nature. So definitely the perfect rifle will have a muzzle device up front that is going to serve a plethora of capabilities for you in order to put accurate shots down range, while also making a more comfortable, easier shooter, while also taking away that flash signature, because the last thing you want to do when you're shooting at nighttime is to give away your positioning by having a large fireball blowing out. So a lot of people like to run AK-47s or Dracos or things of that nature. I've never seen one that doesn't shoot out an enormous fireball at the tip of that muzzle. I've yet to see it unless you're running suppressed, and even then you're having to run a very, very high-end AK-47 platform in order for you to mitigate that flash signature at the tip. All right, sticking to this same area barrel. Now this barrel is an 11.5 inch government profile barrel. It is a heavy barrel, very, very heavy in comparison to some of the skinny barrels, or you have your fluted barrels and things of that nature, a whole lot of different type of materials and things cut with different type of lines. If you've seen the LWRC barrels, you know that they have the little twisting going up on the barreling. But this is a 1-7 twist. So on the perfect barrel, on the perfect rifle, you're gonna have a twist rate of something about a 1-7 or better at that point. And I feel like with the perfect rifle, there are areas where you can go up and down when it comes to certain things. And I think that can just become more of the shooter's preference when it comes to building out the perfect rifle or having the perfect rifle. So for me, the perfect rifle is going to have a heavier barrel, government profile barrel, and something that's going to help with your not only your shot placement, but also your grouping, or shot placement, grouping, same thing. I feel like it'll absolutely help with velocity as well as the distance at which how far you can shoot in comparison to having just your regular standard mil spec barrel. Some people, go chrome line barrel, forged barrel, whatever. But, this is pretty much, I want to say this is chrome line barrel, but it is the 11.5, like I said, the 11.5 government profile barrel. I think it's chrome line, but I'm not sure. So if it's not and somebody knows for sure, then, go ahead and jump down in the comment section and let me know if it is or isn't. Sticking to that front section, we have, as you can see, the quad rail. So this is a BCM quad rail, and it is very heavy. This handguard is very, very heavy. So you have your upper receiver here. Now, if you take away your upper and you just pretty much pick up just this handguard in itself with just a quad rail, it is very heavy. Now, in my opinion, the perfect rifle will have a heavier handguard on it. Why? Is because it helps with trajectories, it helps with velocity, it helps with the grouping, it helps with your shot placement, everything. So like having something heavier in the front end is going to help you when you've balanced it out the proper way. So having a heavier handguard for your rifle, I feel like it's very much a necessity when it comes to having the perfect rifle. And of course, I know this is an ARP, although it is chambered in a 5.56 caliber, 5.56 by 45 NATO. But it's still a rifle at the end of the day. Some people might say, well, it has a brace on the end, but at the end of the day, this is considered a pistol. If I take this brace off and I put a stock on here in SBR, now it's considered a short barrel rifle. So in my opinion, still the same thing. Therefore, this is still a rifle at the end of the day. Again, sticking up to the front section of this rifle, we have our Surefire, as you can see, Scout Light with the pressure pad, the audible on and off. As you can see right here, just click on and off. And then we also have the audible on, audible off. This is a Surefire Scout Light. I think it's the M600 if I'm not mistaken, but it could be a different number. When you have a different weapons and lights and things of that nature, sometimes the numbers can get kind of tricky and confusing. You'll forget what number is which. You'll start calling the TLR7, the X300, or something like that. It happens. It happens. So if you have a lot of different lights and a lot of different weapons, you understand what I'm talking about. So for all of the people that like to jump in the comment section and say, oh, well, that isn't this or this isn't that, chances are they probably don't have a lot of different rifles and gear and equipment and things of that nature, because I think the average person just sometimes forgets, especially when you're just coming off the top of the head with just so many different types of things about gear and parts and all of that. So the perfect rifle, I do feel, will have a light that is almost perfect. Now, Surefire brand, of course, is not the only brand that makes weapon lights. Of course, you have Cloud Defensive. I want to say you have Night Force, you have Streamlight, and a host of other weapon light companies and things of that nature. I'm not sure of all of them because I only pretty much run either Streamlight or Surefire. Those are the only two weapon lights that I run. That's on my pistols as well as on my rifles. So I feel like the perfect rifle will have the perfect light, and I feel like Surefire makes the perfect light. I feel like it's tried and proven through different agencies, military contracts, government contracts, law enforcement. I know some people who run things that aren't Streamlight, but none of the people that I know that are working in those type of capacities, whether it be in law enforcement or military, things of that nature, are running anything other than Surefire. So to me, the perfect rifle is going to have a Surefire weapon light on it. Now, you can't have a Cloud Defensive, of course. Like I said, some of this stuff can be opinionated, and you can have your own taste or your own type of selection for whatever the capabilities that you're looking for the perfect rifle. But I feel like for this is going to give you the perfect lumens, the perfect amount of lumens, if not more, the perfect amount of candelas, if not more, the flood, the tight beam. I mean, honestly, it might be a little too good at times, depending on the type of environment that you're shooting in. Nighttime, perfect. But if you shoot nighttime inside of a brand new housing complex where all the walls are white, if you're not familiar with using that weapon light at nighttime, you don't know where to shine it, you can find yourself blinding yourself actually. But on the perfect rifle, you're gonna have a surefire weapon light, and I don't feel like that can be debated because it's my opinion. Perfect rifle is gonna have a perfect rifle light and or weapon light, fighting light, and that light is gonna be a surefire. Here I'm gonna come down to the bottom, show you that it is clear, empty 20 round mag pull, and just come back here and let you see that it is clear. Now I actually run the 20 rounder for weight purposes, weight distribution and things of that nature. So I want to keep the weight in a certain type of way. And I feel like running with a 20 round magazine definitely helps when you're running with the full 20 round. So I'm running either 75 grain or 77 grain hollow points or hollow tips, I'm sorry. And I feel like with the loaded mag, it keeps it just perfect when, you know, of course, when shots go down, you know, the weight starts to change up a little bit because you're starting to lose those grains when it comes to the weight. But as I go further in this video, you'll start to see more and more why I say that the weight plays a major factor when it comes to setting up the perfect rifle or having the perfect rifle. All right, next up we have our optic. Right here we have our Trijicon MRO. This is not the HD version, but it does have the audible clicker so you can intensify the red dot that you have inside of it. I love the glass. I love the housing in comparison to something like a EOTech, which I pretty much run on one of my other rifles, and the Holosun that I run on another rifle. The Trijicon, in my opinion, is the best optic for having the perfect rifle. The perfect rifle is going to have something that's either a Trijicon or a EOTech optic. Anything below that, in my opinion, for the perfect rifle is null and void. You might as well take it off, sell it, save your money up. So if you're not running a Trijicon or you're not running a EOTech, then you're just wrong at that point. And in my opinion, you don't have the perfect rifle. And I know a lot of people like to go with aim point and some of those, I think Steiner and some of those other optics, and might swear by those, but I feel like they're only swearing by them because they were able to save up a little more money and buy them. So they felt like their $900 red dot optic in comparison to say a $450 to a $600 red dot optic, it makes it superior and it obsoletes everything else. But I feel like that's the furthest thing from the truth. I feel like actually once you get to a certain brand and you get to a certain price point, anything other than that, you're just getting stuff just to say that you have it for the sake of having it, and that you pretty much just get the crap on other people because they weren't able to put the money to the side in order to go and buy a $3,000 or $4,000 Night Force, you know, scope or something like that. So this red dot right here, as you can see, like I said, it's sitting on a riser mount. This is also the riser mount that came with the Trijicon MRO. I see a lot of people that might go with the Scarlet Works, or they might go with the Unity riser mounts, but I like the actual, you know, riser mount that comes with the Trijicon MRO. It sits well with the iron sights, which I'm going to go and touch on next. But as far as having the perfect rifle, I feel like you're going to have a Trijicon or an EOTech. Anything else after that, if you're going into the perfect rifle for, I guess, SPR or something that you are because of your environment and where you live and the capabilities that you're needing for, because the perfect rifle can come in different lengths. So for me and my experience and the level of comfort that I have with my shooting abilities, something at this length is perfect for me. But somebody might live on a ranch or something crazy like that, and you might need those capabilities to make every shot at the least of 200 to 400 yards minimum. For me, indoors, most of the time, this is finna be in a setting where I'm not finna be shooting past 100 yards or 200 yards. It is what it is. That's what makes it perfect for me, because it's perfect for the environment. It's conducive to my my capabilities and what I'm going to be using it for. All right, so coming up, the perfect rifle is going to have very, very sturdy, tried and true backup iron sights. Now, as you can see right here, these backup iron sights are by Daniel Defense, and you might spend about maybe 120 bucks, 140, depending on where you're getting them from, but they're tried and true. I mean, these things are tanks, as you can see, very thick. The mass with inside of them is very, very thick. As you can see right here, very, very sturdy. I mean, you could probably run these over with a couple of trucks, couple of cars, and you're probably not going to have any issues. I know some people like to go with the nice armament and consider the nice armament or skillet works as the end all be all when it comes to your backup sights. But in my opinion, these iron sights, these iron backup sights aren't going to break. They aren't going to go down. They're a perfect co-witness. And I feel like on the perfect rifle, you're going to have backup sights that won't fail you. They don't have a lot of operations that require for a part to go up or down, because that's just another factor of something that you have to worry about breaking. So yeah, if I had something that might collapse at the stock and I wanted something that can fit into certain types of bags and things of that nature, then yeah, having something that collapses would definitely help with the size signature of putting it inside of a bag, keeping it from getting hung up on things of that nature. But I don't have anything that is needing a bag, because this is not a bag gun. And if I did have something like that, of course, I would probably have the detachable, quick detach lever for my red dot, so I could just pretty much pop it right off. And now it's very flush at the top. Needless to say, having the perfect rifle, I feel like it's going to come with a set of backup sights that will not fail you. I mean, I like the Magpul M-Bus sights. I've had the M-Bus 2s, the M-Bus 3s, even the M-Bus Iron Pros. I think it was called the Pros. I ain't mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was called the Pros. But anyway, they don't, they not touching these Daniel defenses. These Daniel defenses it's just where it's at. Perfect rifle is gonna have, I mean, this, and in my opinion, again, this isn't something that I feel like can be substituted, you know. But of course, my opinion for the perfect rifle, you're gonna have these exact iron sights. Now, if you're going with something a lot longer, maybe you might have your A2 front sight post, so you have something that's fixed. You don't have to worry about taking it on and off, because it's pretty much connected right to your gas block, and you're pretty much, you know, you're good to go with that. But for me, you're not going to get any better when it comes to iron sights than these iron sights right here. They shouldn't even be called iron sights. They should be called Terminator Indestructible T19 T3000 iron sights. Just my opinion. Coming back, the perfect rifle is going to have a very, very good charging handle. So as you can see right here, bring this back, we have hopefully it pretty much zooms in some. So we have the Radiant Raptor charging handle. Now this charging handle isn't ported. So again, like I was speaking about the muzzle device up front, it has the capabilities of being able to go without a suppressor, but also being able to pull a suppressor at any moment in time, ratcheting it down, and then you are running suppressed. With the charging handle, you would want to get something that has a ported charging handle, which would be a lot of holes. Basically, to make it in more layman's terms, you have a lot of holes that are going to pretty much help with the gas exertion. And also, if I'm not mistaken, dead air, I think it's dead air, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it's a lot of other companies that make charging handles that are tailored to shooting suppressed, and it helps with getting a lot of that gas out of there when you're shooting, so that a lot of that gas is not hitting you back in the face. Because once you're running suppressed, you'll get a lot of gas up front. You might get a lot of gas right here out of your window, and then you'll get a lot of gas coming right back here, which pretty much, if you're shooting and your face is here, you'll get a lot of that gas blowback to be right in your face. So that helps with mitigating a lot of that gas blowback. Charging handle, because I'm running something that can go suppressed at any moment, I would want to have a charging handle with something that is ported also, that's compatible with a muzzle device that helps you accept having a suppressor. So that way, if I decide to say, hey, I don't want to go as loud and I want something that's a little bit quieter on the ears or whatever, I can just immediately shoot straight over, put that on, and I don't have to worry about as much gas blowing back on me. Now, is the gas going to be a problem when it comes to shooting? No, I don't feel like it will. Now, if you're shooting at a great duration of time, maybe you're in a gunfight, or even if you're just on the range and you're just making sure that everything's functioning properly, then yeah, you'll start to realize a lot of that gas is starting to become an issue. But if you're getting into a quick fight, 10 rounds, 20 rounds, that gas is not going to play a major factor. So you can run it without that type of charging handle. Just your regular mil spec charging handle will do just fine. But when it comes to the perfect rifle, I feel like a charging handle that is ambidextrous and has latches that are wide enough for you to grip at any given time without having to think about it. You could just run your hand, just rack it just like that on either side. You might pull back here, you might pull back there, you might reach over and snatch back. The perfect rifle is going to allow you to be able to do that on both sides, while also giving you the opportunity to be able to reach out and grab it without any types of fine detail work when it comes to you trying to get your finger really down tight in a certain type of spot or anything like that. The big extra large and large size latches right here just really help for your fingers to just snatch it at any given time. So as you can see right here, our lower receiver, we're running the Aero Precision. This is the Aero Precision M4 lower. As you can see right here, come through another side profile right there. So this Aero Precision M4 style strip lower receiver, I think I spent about maybe $150, $160 on it, I'm not mistaken. But I feel like the perfect rifle is going to have a lower receiver that can withstand the pressures, while also maintaining a good tolerance for your lower parts that you have internally inside of that lower receiver. I have seen lower receivers where the parts the tolerance aren't as good, so you could get a little bit of wobbling in certain pieces. Certain parts move a lot more than others, and I feel like that can become detrimental when you're trying to explain to somebody what you would consider the perfect rifle or receiver. Now you can go further up. You can go into your guys leads, your Daniel Defense, your Colt M4, government profile style lower receivers, FN series. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You'll spend from $150 to $800 to $1,500 on a lower receiver. But I feel like the perfect lower receiver is the one that you get that is at mid tier or better. Now, the internals inside of here are the Geisley Super Duty internal parts. So our safety selector, bolt catch on his side, mag release, all of those things, detents, pins, springs, everything inside. It's all going to be by Geisley. So it's all Geisley Super Duty internals. And I feel like with those internals, you can't go wrong. Geisley Super Duty internals are fantastic. Even when you're just going with the standard mil spec level of their parts kits or their lower parts kits. You start going with triggers and stuff like that. The perfect rifle is going to have a trigger that I feel like has a low pull when it comes to pounds per square inch. And it's also backed by a brand that has nothing but great quality. Now, of course, you'll have a couple of duds and a couple of lemons sometimes when you go and get certain types of triggers, whether it be Geisley's or LaRue Tacticals or CMC triggers. The list goes on and on. And trigger sometimes can be a lot more of a debatable thing as far as having a perfect rifle and it having the perfect trigger inside of it. But I think that just having a quality trigger that comes from a quality tested brand with good quality assurance and good customer service, you can't go wrong. You can have an issue, you can always send it in, get it fixed, get it replaced, things of that nature. So having good quality lower receiver parts and having a good quality trigger is, is paramount, of course, to having a perfect rifle. But when it comes to the brands that you go with, I feel like you can really just stretch it out there when it comes to the companies and things of that nature. So the H2 buffer that we have inside of here is a 4.7 ounce buffer inside of it. Now, I did have the spring changed out at one point in time, but then I put the original spring back in. But the buffer itself, I upgraded and I got a, like I said, the H2 4.7 ounce buffer. It's going to help with the ease of shooting. And like I said, once you have something that is very heavier up front and having that heavier buffer in the rear, it's really going to help with your stability and keeping it pretty much tucked in that pocket right here. And it's going to keep it from going all over the place like this because it's basically too light and ass. So putting that extra heavier buffer right here and having it heavier up front, it really just pretty much helps it to go in that nature right there, and you don't have you almost have a negative recoil at that point. So a buffer is a mandatory thing that I feel like should be a part, or is a part, in my opinion, of the perfect rifle. The perfect rifle is going to have a heavier buffer, and that's going to help with the ease of shooting, help with shot placement, help with grouping, all of those things. So having a heavier buffer would be mandatory when it comes to having the perfect rifle. Now, which brand you want to go with? You go with BCMs, you can go with arrows, you can go with guys at least. Again, the list goes on and on when it comes to buffers, but having a buffer weight that is at least a 4.2, 4.7 or better. Do it come in 4.2? I'm not sure. I think it's like 2.4 for the like mil spec standard. But anyway, you'll have to have a upgraded buffer in order for you to have the perfect rifle. And I feel like it's just a part of the perfect rifle. And that's just the internal thing. That's not even an external thing that could be, debated as being optional or, shooter's preference or anything like that. I feel like it's actually a mandatory when it comes to having a perfect rifle. You're going to have a heavier buffer. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, some things that I feel like are optional when it comes to preference for the perfect rifle that I feel like can, pretty much go up or down depending on the shooter's taste and what your idea of the perfect rifle should have. But at the same time, that thing, in my opinion, is kind of a little bit more optional, or like I said, a little bit more shooter-based specifics. And as you can see right here, this is just a B5 Systems pistol grip, nothing special. And on the rear, we have the SB Tactical SBA4 brace. Again, it's just a brace. I mean, I feel like if you go and change this out and you SBR and you go to just a mil spec a mil spec rifle brace or rifle butt stock. I keep saying brace. So yeah, if you go with a mil spec rifle butt stock and just your regular like mil spec style pistol grip, at that point, it's just how good is the shooter. Some people can say that you need to upgrade those things, but I don't feel like you have to, and I don't feel like having the perfect rifle is constituted on something like a pistol grip and a butt stock or a brace. At that point, it's just what feels more comfortable. But I don't feel like having a different style of pistol grip or a different stock or brace should make you a better or worse shooter. It should just come down to what's just a little bit more comfortable at that point. But I don't feel like the perfect rifle will be dictated or determined by the type of stock or brace or pistol grip that you have on it. It's my opinion. Some things we have added on, as you can see right here on the left side of the rifle, and I spin it around for you can see, it's the Daniel Defense. This is pretty much the handguard rail cover. It's just like a rubber cover, and it doesn't really serve any purpose other than the fact that I just like to feel the rubber on the left side of my hand when I'm gripping it. I don't run any type of foregrip or any type of hand stop up front because my hands are fairly large. So when I C-clamp here and I wrap my hands around it, as you can see, I have this section open for my thumb. So I had this section open right here, so I can pretty much hold it and get a good grip without having to worry about like pulling on my light cord. And of course, the cord is just wrapped up in the goon tape. Got it pretty much here. As you can see, we have it out here, so in case I ever need to just pop this off, there you go. And we have some Ranger bands in the rear. Sling. Perfect rifle has to have a sling, has to have a good sling, and has to have a sling that gives you retention capabilities. So if I needed to let this all the way out, I can do so. And then if I needed to bring it closer to my body at any time, I could do that also. Throw it on at any time, pop it off at any time because you have quick detach capabilities. As you can see right here, BCM QD adapters, pop it right in. And this quad rail comes with the capabilities of you being able to lock in your sling with your QD attachments here, as well as on the female end there. And then it's also on the other side here and up there, depending on which size shooter you might be. And then of course, you can add on extra different types of accessories that might help you to offset your sling or anything like that. But last thing that I didn't get into, go here. and that is the heart of the rifle, which would be your bolt carrier group. So this bolt carrier group is by a company called Extreme Performance. I've had this for about maybe 3 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But Extreme Performance bolt carrier, man, it stood up flawlessly. With this rifle, I think I've ever had any type of malfunctions, any bad strikers on ammo, because I only run, fairly decent ammo through it when it's time to train. But I've never had any issues with it. I never had any issues with the bolt carrier cycling. It always cycles. It always locks back. When it comes to bolt carrier, I can't even get into that because I'm not as of an expert when it comes to bolt carrier. I understand tool steel and the QA and the pressures and all of that kind of stuff that goes into it to a degree, but it's very minute in comparison to some people who have a large, grand, education when it comes to bolt carrier groups. So for me, having a bolt carrier that's just tried and true and tested, it has the proper pressures, it's made out of the right material, and it's just, quality. And I feel like the perfect rifle is going to have that. Some people might say it doesn't really even matter about the bolt carrier group. And some people say that the rifle is basically all built or off and around the bolt carrier group. And so, of course, bolt carrier, charging handle, and things of that nature. But yeah, man, that's it right there. This is what I consider, for me, and in my opinion, perfect rifle. And I don't feel like you can get any better than this when it comes to this 11.5 inch build out of the perfect rifle. It has everything that's needed for the perfect rifle. It can reach out the distances that's needed for the perfect rifle, whether close or way further out yonder. It has the light capabilities in order for you to see in all different types of extreme weather and conditions. It has the capabilities of not only mitigating flash, but also helping with the concussion, allows you to shoot prone without as much of debris blowing all over the place. And it also allows you to be able to, at any time, slap a suppressor on with no issues at all. Ratchet it down, clicks in, you're good to go. Iron sights are battle tested, probably will never break. I don't know, you might have to get a demolition ranch out and have them shoot some of these iron sights to get them to try to break them and see what caliber it'll take to actually hit them and break them. But I don't feel like you'll break them. I know not running over it with any type of vehicle is going to break them, I tell you that for sure. Weapon light, top end line, best money can buy at this point. Anything more, you're just paying for clear glass, maybe a clear reticle, I'm not sure, but this is perfection right here. Yeah, man, it's perfect. Everything you need, everything you want. And for anybody who's looking to build out the perfect rifle and they see this as an example and they want some ideas about more parts or anything specific that I have in here, feel free to reach out, let me know down in the comment section. And that's it, man. Again, I apologize for being away for so long, but I'm back. I'm trying to get more content put out to you guys, so just stick with me, work with me, check out some of the posts that I've been putting up recently, just to kind of keep you guys seeing and knowing that, hey, I'm out here and I'm trying to do something. So it's Navy Vet 88. Y'all can see AI in the back, GOAT. Marathon, of course, always, RIP Nipsey. And we'll holler back at y'all. It's Navy Vet 88. Peace.